This is this is my second lecture on this poem. Today I would be discussing the various important lines of this poem. In my first lecture we talked about the literary influences which could have prompted Tennyson to write this poem. Now we would talk about the various lines and the form of the poem in general. Now, as I said, this poem is written in blank verse, and this poem is of 70 lines. And it is written in the form of dramatic monologue. But somewhere this dramatic monologue is different from the earlier dramatic monologue, My Last Duchess, by Robert Browning, because Robert Browning in his dramatic monologue was somewhere the speaker was more active and the listener's presence was also revealed as actively as the listener's speech. But here Ulysses at times, though it is written in the form of dramatic monologue, Ulysses somewhere we feel he's talking to himself, and this speech is his own is his own dissatisfaction or his own ironical mood which is going through, or the dilemma which is going through, and he's talking to himself because he's trying to justify himself for his actions. In Robert Browning's My Last Duchess, the Duke was not talking to himself. He was talking to a listener, he was talking to a messenger. But here, Ulysses, sometimes we feel is talking to himself, and then sometimes we feel that it is in the form of a public address. There is a large public who is listening to what he's saying. Then at times there are passages where we feel that he's talking to his son and he's addressing his son, but somewhere he's not directly addressing his son and he's talking about his son, not to his son. And then he's talking about his wife, then he's talking about his sailor friends. And at the end of the poem, there we realize or we feel that this is he's standing there on a seashore, and he's talking to his sailor friends, his those soldiers who had accompanied him during his war, the famous Trojan War, and who has accompanied him, who had been his friends or his mates during his various adventures. So the listeners, the speaker is same throughout the poem, but the listeners vary. So in that way, it is different from My Last Duchess. Then Ulysses is written in blank verse, and sometimes he tries to come out of those fixed iambic pentameters, and that he does deliberately. Tennyson is doing it deliberately in order to reflect the dilemma of Ulysses. And as every dramatic monologue, this poem also is somewhere reflecting upon the character of the person Ulysses. Now Ulysses is as the poem runs, is speaking about his situation, and is speaking about his desire, his to leave the kingdom Ithaca and go back to his own lifestyle. He says, it little profits that an idle king by this still hearth among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal laws unto a savage race, that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All time I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone on shore, and when through skirting drifts the rainy Hyades vex the dim sea, I am become a name. Now, Ulysses is saying he's become a name. He's known for something else. He's known for adventure. He's known for his statesmanship. He's known for his courage. He is known for his idea of a warrior, and he's not known for somebody who is just hoarding, collecting things and sleeping, or unequal laws which have been put on a savage race. He calls his kingdom, the people who are living there, savage people. And then he's talking about his wife who is growing old, and he himself knows that he himself is growing old. So somewhere he does not like living with a wife who is aging, or living at a place which is barren, or just hoarding and sleeping, or not drinking life to the lees. And for this, all these things, he was not known. He was known for skirting. He was known for driving. He was known for moving. He was known for adventures. So this is the this is not the name which Ulysses wants. Then he talks of for always roaming with a hungry heart. Much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments. Myself not least, but honored of them all, and drunk light delight of battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. I am a part of all that I have met. Now he says, I was a part of what I did at Troy, or I did at sea, or I did at mountains, or when I was facing different climates or councils. I was myself. That was me. Not this aged king who is living in his kingdom. This is not me. So somewhere he is again and again talking about moving out, or just seeking, striving, and yearning, and enjoying life with adventures, not sleeping here or collecting things here with his own son, who is living a routine life, a life without blame, because he's living his life on routine patterns, on a definite patterns. He does not want Ulysses does not want to live a life on routine patterns. So somewhere he is somewhere is criticizing his own son, somewhere is criticizing his people, the people of his kingdom, who do not know anything, but they know only to sleep and wake up and eat. So this type of life he does not want to live. And then he further says, as we quote, he further says that there lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail. There gloom the dark broad seas, my mariners' souls have toiled and wrought and thought with me, that ever with frolic welcome took the thunder and the sunshine, and opposed free hearts, free foreheads. You and I are old. Now he's talking about his old age again and again, that he wants to go back to sea. He wants to go back to the wild, to journeys through various islands, or journeys through various mountains, or journeys or being a part of a great warfare. See, he wants to go back to his own life, and he says he knows that his friends are aging one by one. The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks, the long day wanes, the slow moon climbs, moon rounds with many voices. Come, my friends, it's not too late to seek a newer world. Push off, and sitting well in order, smite the sounding, for my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset. Now he's somewhere telling you that sunset has fallen. It is sunset of his own life, but still he wants to go on the spirit of Renaissance, or we can say Milton's Satan, or we can say Hamlet's dissatisfaction with his own life, or we can say Homer's Odyssey. All are there in one. And the concept is to move and to move and to move and leave the routine.